Decky gets sent off.
Dun, 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 and that's where the whole game changes. Arsenal fans up in arms. Conspiracy theories at large.
Are Liverpool really title contenders, or is it too early?
You don't want to watch this for 38 games a season. What is going on here? Yeah, it's such a mad one.
Who wants to be there? It's got problems written all over it. The only place that they will be is bottom of the table going into the international break.
The perfect start is over. The title race is over. Bin it off. Man City have won it again.
I've never seen a fan base of a club have such a f***ing meltdown.
He's sticking his finger up bum.
He's sticking his finger up his bum. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to BoreDraw, episode 106. And we start the podcast again with some very sad news. The passing of Sol Bamba. Just 1 week after another, just terrible news. I mean, he is such like a championship legend. I remember every time that QPR played against a team with Sol Bamba in it, he was always the most like defensively assured player on the pitch. He was a monster.
And then off the pitch, good vibes, mate. You see all the people paying tributes and him doing kind of punditry bits or like commentary bits post-game. He always seems like a good laugh.
It's much like Sven the prior week. Everyone had nothing but good things to say. And it's a real loss for football. It's a real loss. And it's far too early, far too young. So obviously we wish him, all his family, the best.
Condolences.
Yeah, it's just...
It's not ideal for football.
No. You would have thought... Anyway,
what would you have thought, Luke?
You would have thought we'd start the podcast this week on a brighter note, but we haven't.
We won't do another death next week, I promise.
Moving on swiftly, we have a lot to talk about because the weekend of football was outrageous. From Manchester City doing what they do best, Haaland scoring another bloody hat-trick. We had Arsenal dropping points at Brighton. We had Manchester United absolutely capitulating at home to Liverpool. But no one capitulated harder than our first topic. The first team we're talking about, who is Everton.
Shut up, you dusty Everton fans. They were coming at me on TikTok for saying, I said they've lost their mojo, they should be in the champ, blah, blah, blah. And all these Everton fans were like, blah, 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 blah. Shut up.
We said there's not a single player in the Everton team who actually wants to play for Everton.
And we were proved right, because you let a 2-goal lead slip in the
87th minute.
Last 5 minutes of the game, you stank it out.
87th minute. And the worst part is that they actually started this game so well. They were really good.
On it.
They were really good for 80 minutes.
They were making...
had nothing to do.
Yeah, they were making a very good Bournemouth side look bad. Yeah. Very bad.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin was getting in dangerous areas. Jack Harrison was putting in dangerous balls. I mean, Tim Irabunum, he was so good. Yeah. That's exactly what we saw at QPR when he was on loan there.
Come on.
He's marauding through the midfield. He's so big. He's so strong. He gets past people. He just holds them off. He pushes them off the ball. He's fantastic. But the mentality is weak. If you can't see out a 2-goal lead in the 87th minute against, let's face it, not like the top of the Premier League. This is a team who you should be probably competing against.
100%.
Where do you stand? Where do you stand? Because that is if they had been 1-0 and they'd drawn the game, I would have understood it maybe because things happen, you know. But to lose a 2-goal lead, it's just going to kill them for the rest of the season.
And the goals are pathetic as well. Like the Lewis Cook header, it's just people not tracking their runners.
Yeah,
it's crosses in the box. Like Sean Dyche has put together a team that you think should be defensively astute enough to handle crosses into the box.
The Lewis Cook header, the Sinistera header, both just people not tracking their men.
Lewis Cook is not a big guy. Sinistera is not a big guy. You shouldn't be losing duels in the box to these guys.
Lewis Cook is 5'7". I think he's played something like 200 games in the Premier League. And that was his first goal ever. Mental. Sinistera not tracked for his run. Semenyo, the amount of times Bournemouth in the last 10 minutes had the ball bouncing around at Everton's box and it just wasn't getting cleared because Everton didn't know whether they were coming or going and sticking.
Semenyo's a baller though.
No one actually just decided to step up and put a boot through it and take charge, and they just capitulated. They caused their own downfall. But let's not take away how good Bournemouth were because they didn't give up. They were poor.
They were really bad.
They couldn't get going for 80 minutes. Or
Iraola had nothing but bad words to say about his Bournemouth side at the end of the game. He was like, we should have lost, blah, blah, blah. But
the resilience.
Mate, that's a good side there to show that you make some subs. They got quite good depth as well. I like the Dango Utara came on. He's a baller. I like Semenyo a lot. Sinistera off a bench. That's like excellent depth option.
Yeah, no, and to be able to turn it around, I think it's the latest ever comeback from 2 goals.
I'll back it because it's mental.
Yeah, it's nuts. But I mean, what does this mean for Everton? Going into the international break now without a win, without a point?
I don't know.
I think they got slapped by Spurs. They got beaten by Bournemouth, and then they lost the first game of the season. I'm pretty sure.
So no points potentially, but
yeah, I will double check that.
You've got a note here that said they lost their opening 3 games of the season last year.
Yeah,
it's still early days in terms of the season.
They're on -8.
It's not good.
They got slapped 3-0 then 4-0.
It's not ideal.
It's bad. It is really bad. I mean, they didn't really do what they had to do this summer. They lost Onana. They brought in Iliman and Day,
who actually look good.
He looks a lot like Dele Alli.
Well, he didn't play the last 2 games. This is the first game he
physically
properly started.
Physically, he looks like Dele Alli with the little chin beard, sort of curly hair.
But yeah, I thought he was really good this game. He's like really good at playing off the striker, which is where I said that they should have him.
Doesn't he? Because
off Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who I think is pants.
I noticed him a lot drifting over to that left-hand side as well, which created space for players like Tim to run into. And yeah, I thought he was really good. But the question is now, I mean, this Everton team, where do they go? Where do they pick up their first points?
I know Michael Keane scored in this game.
But he's pants.
Mikolenko,
he's average.
But he lost his runner twice for 2 of the goals. So
I mean, ultimately, they didn't stop the balls coming in.
It's bad. It is bad. And maybe when Branthwaite comes back in, there's a bit more solidity. Him and Tarkowski.
Is Pickford a liability?
I don't know. He had a good game. And it's mental because last season, Everton were the 3rd best defensive team in the league.
Yeah. Which is what you'd expect from someone like
can it be that missing Branthwaite has caused such a... Is it missing Branthwaite and missing Onana? What's going on here? Is it just Branthwaite being swapped with Michael Keane?
who was their joint top scorer last season, can't get a start.
Well, they swapped him out for Ndai this game.
So, you know, it's confusing. I think Haaland's like 2 goals behind Everton since he joined the Premier League in terms of goal scoring, which is nuts.
Mate, the guy's cracked. But yeah, for me, Everton, like you said, didn't do enough in the transfer market. And I think...
I'd be seriously worried.
Are they the worst team in the league at the moment?
Well, no, the problem is, though, this is a question I'm going to put towards you.
Do it.
Are they lucky that we've got 3 fairly weak promoted teams coming up?
They are lucky that is a thing, but are they worse than some of... I think they're worse than Ipswich. And I had Ipswich rock bottom of my predictions. But I've been impressed by Ipswich.
But are you impressed by Ipswich because your expectations were quite low?
Yeah. But my expectations of Everton are pretty low.
Because I think Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester all sit in the... Well, actually...
Ipswich got their first point on the weekend.
Southampton, the only other team on 90 points. Wolves, Ipswich, Palace and Leicester all on 1 point. And then Man United on 3 points.
But yeah, Everton for me... It's time to worry. I know I said it's early days and they lost their opening 3 fixtures last season, but it's not good enough. You can't bottle a 2-goal lead.
No matter who you are.
What is going on with Jared Branthwaite? Is he just injured?
I think so.
Yeah, well, get him back ASAP, hopefully.
But who wants to play for that club? Who wants to play for that club? They're a massive club, but it's just so toxic there at the minute. The owner doesn't want to be there. Half the players don't want to be there. The fans don't want the players to be there. They don't want to be at that stadium anymore. They've got a new stadium that they don't want to go to. Who wants to be there? Who wants to be there? It's got problems written all over it. The only place that they will be is bottom of the table going into the international break. We briefly just mentioned Man United, who sit only 3 points ahead of Everton. Speaking of 3, they held 3 to Liverpool. 2 goals from Luis Diaz, a goal from Mohamed Salah. It was a complete display of dominance.
Levels. Dutch levels, mate.
Absolute levels. We had a battle of the Dutch bald men.
Got a couple of things to point out. We'll start with...
Slot made Ten Hag his slut.
Jeez! Yeah, there's a lot going on that we'll dissect about the game and kind of... But I want to just quickly pose to you. You had Man United finishing 3rd place in your Premier League predictions. What on earth was going through your head?
Do you know what? I just thought, this is your 3rd season now. And I like the way that Ineos was moving. I like the way that they were starting to be a bit more sort of driven in their approach to... Data-driven in their approach on who they're signing. Not just signing names. I think at some point it has to click. At some point.
That's it.
Ten Hag was so good at Ajax. His team was really good.
Yeah.
Champions League quarterfinals.
Was it just really good players? And now that he doesn't have really good players, he's getting found out.
But he has got good players.
Does he, though?
They're
crap.
I mean, they were good before they came to United.
Yeah, there's a lot of duds in there, though.
I think they need to be ruthless and drop some of these deadweight players. Just sack off Casemiro. He's had how many stinkers have we called him out for?
Right, let's start with Man United then. Casemiro, a double pivot of him and Kobbie Mainoo.
Gone. Get him gone.
Casemiro came out post-game. Also weird that he left it at half-time. He's absolutely lost his lid. And then his wife posted a picture on Instagram of all his trophies. What is going on here? That's
like Pele posting photos of his trophies, and being like, well, he's not going to do his job now, is he, mate?
Yeah, you're dead food. There's a picture of him behind the counter at a kebab shop. It just makes me laugh. But, yeah, Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo double pivot doesn't work. Casemiro came out after the game and said, last season's Man United tactics I didn't like because they played me in a role that exposes my weaknesses. So is it a him problem or is it a Ten Hag problem? What's going on there?
Well, it doesn't matter whose problem it is. It's a Man United problem.
It's a Man United problem.
Because they bought in Ugarte, who's apparently not match fit, might not be match fit for weeks or even months, Ten Hag said. Are you fucked? Like, he just says stupid shit all the time. For a fucking manager of a football team, the biggest football team probably in the world, he says a lot of fucking stupid shit and he can't keep his mouth shut. What the fuck's wrong with him? You're a manager. Manage your words, mate.
Jeez.
You know?
Luke's lost his head.
Is it just lost in translation? I know English isn't his first language, but he says a lot of stuff pretty well. Is he just not meaning to say these things? Are he saying things that he doesn't mean?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Talk to me about Casemiro. Why doesn't that work? Because
he's old. He's built like a kebab, man. He is.
The problem is, in games where Man United dominate, he probably would be fine. But we've said this on the podcast for nearly 2 years now. When was the last time Man United dominated a game?
He's a fucking liability.
At Real Madrid, he was good, but Real Madrid dominate 100% of games.
But they also got rid of him when he was like 30.
Yes, but even still, the idea of dominating games, he could slot in, kind of knock passes about and be fine if you're dominating the game. But a game where you're trying to win the ball back, where you're getting caught in transition 24/7, like he says, he's getting exposed.
He was getting exposed to a point, right? Because the times he gave the ball away, which resulted in 2 Liverpool goals, Mazraoui and Dalot were fucking nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
Don't know where the fuck they were. They were so wide and so just out of being an option that he had no choice but to try and play it centrally. Where Liverpool had Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai all pressing, who all had really good games.
Yeah,
they were pressing hard.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened last season where people were using Eriksen as a trigger. Casemiro was the trigger. When he got the ball, you pressed the midfield, you got in front of his options, you got onto him, he would give the ball away, which happened multiple times.
Mate, that one where he's like on the byline and he kind of like cuts one way, cuts the other way, and then just kind of rolls it. Just rolls it up the touchline and walks off. But it's so funny.
But yeah, he was getting exposed because no one was coming to feet.
Yeah.
But at some point, then you've got to say, right, where's your press resistance? Oh, he doesn't have that because he's like 35 million years old, built like a man who's had one too many kebabs. And that's it. They will be better off when they have someone who's a bit more dynamic there. Someone a bit more like Ugarte, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know, because everyone they bought in just seems to be shit. Lisandro Martinez is shit.
Mate, all this butcher chat, I'm sick of it. He's crap.
Tiptoe through the Klopp end with your cleaver from Argentina or wherever.
Mate,
he's
dead.
Wank.
He's so dead. He's just like... He's like me if I've had a couple of pints, just like little man syndrome.
He'll make like one crunching tackle and think that makes up for a whole game just doing nothing. He's
like Romero,
but too short,
but bad.
Yeah.
Because Romero would make a crunching tackle, lose his head, but he's got that kind of
line breaking passes. He can bring the ball forward.
Pretty solid, actually.
Yeah.
Whereas Lisandro Martinez is just like an angry version of him with no actual quality.
I would rather start Harry Maguire.
Same.
Kobe Minu, I think, is being hung out to dry. The poor lad that they bought on as well.
Yeah, what was he like? Tommy Eyeball or something like that?
Colson. He got hung out to dry, bringing them on 2-0 down against Liverpool. Don't know what you're thinking. Getting rid of Garnacho to bring on Ahmad.
Marcus Rashford
does nothing.
Just get him out of the club, mate.
He does nothing. Him, Xerxes, who I was pretty excited to see, he had a really poor game. I don't know what is going on, but the real question is, without talking too much about Liverpool, because they were excellent.
We will actually get on to Liverpool because I've got a few bits I want to say.
When we'll transition on to them now, is the question I want to pose to you is, how can Arne Slot walk into his Liverpool team, replace a better manager,
make one tiny signing,
instantly, not have an overhaul, and instantly we see a style of play. We can see an identity to that Liverpool team. Whilst it's somewhat similar to the Klopp's way of playing, I can see what he's doing though. I can see the movements, the quick interchanges. Why is it now we're 3 years into a Ten Hag and I can't see any sign of an identity? It is so like, is it the players? Is it him? I don't know.
It's both of them. I'm going to be very level-headed and take both sides. So, a pro that I'm giving Ten Hag's argument. The players are dog. We've done a podcast a while ago where we're clearing out Man United's squad, keep or sell, and there was a lot of sales, as you can imagine. I think it's probably about the same, if not worse now. Marcus Rashford's got worse. Anthony's got worse. You've got players in there. Yes, you've made a few good signings. I like Mazraoui. I think DeLitt will be a good signing, blah, blah, blah. The squad as a whole shouldn't be competing for top four. I don't think they've got enough good players in that team to compete for top four, in my opinion. So that's why I think maybe it's not why Ten Hag isn't as to blame as I think he should be. Players are bad. But in 3 years, you cannot be Man United's worst ever finish in the Premier League. You cannot be losing games convincing. I think in the last pissing however many times, Liverpool have slapped them like 4-0, 3-0, 7-0. You're getting turned over regularly.
The only time they beat them was that like 4-3 in the cup.
Yeah. And so I think for Man United right now, they're in like a terrible, terrible place. And I think it's like 40% the players, 60% Ten Hag.
The issue I have with it is that Ten Hag has been allowed to bring in the players that he wanted. Brought in Malacia,
which is why I think
where's he gone?
More Ten Hag's
He's brought in Anthony.
He's had everything at his disposal.
Anthony's had an absolute stinker. He's brought in Martinez. He's been constantly injured and not really been good enough. The players he's brought in, not one of them has worked out.
And I tweeted this.
I can't find one of them.
Them winning the Carabao and then winning the FA Cup.
Papering over cracks.
Papering over cracks massively. And it's got straight to his head because he said,
After Man City,
we're the most successful club in England after the last couple of years. What is going on here? Yeah, it's such a mad one because I was having this debate with my girlfriend's granddad, and he was saying that, like, yes, they are, and like it depends where your kind of like allegiances lie. If you kind of block out everything and you're just there for the trophy haul, yes, keep him. You win a cup every now and then, happy days. But if you're watching Man United for 38 games a season, if you're an avid Man United fan, you don't want to watch this shit for 38 games a season. If you're someone that just quickly gets a ticket to an FA Cup final but doesn't give a shit for the rest of the season, and you go there win an FA Cup final, you're probably thinking, yeah, he's a quality manager. But if you watch this shit week in, week out, there is no way you can want this guy in.
I completely agree. I mean, the issue, like, the only two players who I think have any credibility in that club are Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo.
Kobbie Mainoo, what guy?
Both who come through as young players. Amad Diallo as well.
Yeah.
apart from that, I don't think there's a single player in that club that can say that they're performing to their best or even a world-class level.
Nowhere near world class. Don't mean any of them.
It's pathetic. It's such a poorly run club.
But Liverpool, another win. That's 3 clean sheets for Arne Slot, which is something that last season I was quite critical of Jurgen Klopp, that they're defensively they were a little bit leaky last season. 3 clean sheets in a row for Liverpool is actually quite impressive.
Bringing
because
Gravenberch,
it's the same defence.
Yeah, well,
they made no signings whatsoever. So
they
it's
brought Gravenberch in as at 6 now,
which arguably I didn't think
like a new signing.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd be the kind of defensive midfielder that would solidify them. He's not got that kind of profile where he's like a bit of a destroyer or like a Fabinho vibe. He's not that guy. But he's doing really well. 3 clean sheets.
I think
it's impressive
as well with that midfield. It's fairly fluid because at any point you probably have Szoboszlai as the most forward of them 3, and McAllister can support. Then Gravenberch, one of them can sit, one of them can go. They can all go. Even Szoboszlai can sit deep. Like, it's very dynamic. It's very fluid, and it seems to be working well. Diego Jota is a menace. But this game was really about Diaz and Salah. Diaz seemed to be... This is what we expected from him. When he's clinical...
He started this season really well.
When he's clinical, he's not second-guessing himself. He feels like he's in his flow. And there was a lot of talk about him, Liverpool cashing in on him.
Yeah.
It was working really well. I think Trent is outrageous. He's been absolutely phenomenal.
And Mo Salah, bloody hell. He came out post-game and said, this is my last season at Liverpool.
Well,
which has caused an absolute uproar.
See, I think this might be another thing that's sort of like, well, as it stands, it is.
It's probably like him saying, get your shit and gearing off.
Well, I don't even think it's that. I think he's just saying, as it stands, it's my last season. And then I think Liverpool will offer him a contract. Can't let him go on a free.
No, you can't. He's so good. And like...
He looks better than ever.
Mate, he looks cracked. This is skinhead, mate. I love it. Liverpool looking good. Man United looking terrible.
I mean, yeah, it's are Liverpool really title contenders, or is it too early?
I mean, and we'll get on to Arsenal next, but the only other team that would be competing with Man City is Arsenal, and we've dropped points, so the only 2 teams at the moment that have got a perfect record are City and Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, if they keep this up, they've got... they've got everything to go.
100%.
They can keep... They didn't really do too much in the transfer window, which is maybe what I think could hold them back.
Potentially, yeah.
But they've got quality on the bench as well. Yeah. I mean, they're keeping Darwin Núñez on the bench. I wouldn't say he's quality, but he's dangerous.
I'm excited to see that guy in the
Chiesa, mate. What an unreal signing. Cheaper than Jay Stansfield, who went to Birmingham.
Mental.
15 million plus 5.
For a League One player. Well, that's mental.
He scored against them in the Cup, so they signed him. It's nuts. It is for a League One player.
Game's gone, mate.
It's just because there's no financial fair play rules in League One.
Oh, is there not?
No.
Oh.
League One, League Two, no fun. That's why Wrexham can spend whatever they want to.
That's mental.
When they get to the Championship,
game's gone.
They'll be in a bit of trouble because they won't be able to afford everyone.
Right, Arsenal.
But yeah,
1-1 against Brighton.
The
perfect start is over. The title race is over. Bin it off. Man City have won it again.
I've never seen a fan base of a club have such a fucking meltdown. Brighton are a good team.
They are a good
under this very young boy.
He's doing my head in already, mate.
They're playing well. They are doing the same things where they buy these unknown players from fucking the Colombian 9th division.
I had them quite low in my prediction for the league, and my only argument was they can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah, replacing managers and being better.
Yet they somehow keep doing it.
And for me, Arsenal were always going to be the team in this game that had the better chances. They've got the better quality.
We look good. Until it went pear-shaped, we look really good.
So Arsenal, they go 1-0 up, I think, about like 20-something minutes.
Yeah, Kai Havertz.
Fantastic.
Saka was putting that
he turned his
in
man,
an absolute blender.
And then Kai Havertz with the finish. Yeah. Kai Havertz put some respect on his name.
Second best striker in the league.
Would you say Salah?
Salah's not a striker.
Okay.
I've said that without much thinking, but now I actually think that's true.
Is he better than Isak?
Oh, yeah, no, maybe not. Probably not. Probably not. Third best striker in the league.
But he's definitely up there.
The
record does not lie. He's been phenomenal.
18 goals and assists.
He's
in
so
17.
dangerous.
Yeah.
I've completely 180'd on him. I'm a big fan. And when you've got a player like him in his sort of goal scoring form, maybe you're right to not to get Britain a striker, not to waste your money.
Yeah, I said this. If there's not a perfect guy on the market, don't get a sub.
Although Osimhen seems to be on his way to Galatasaray on loan,
mental.
which is nuts.
Yeah, he's had an absolute flop of a. Maybe that's the flop of the week. His whole transfer saga. But yeah, Arsenal look really good, really dominant. Saka started this season really well. Like you said, Kai Havertz has as well. Martinelli dropped this game for Trossard, which we said was going to happen. Trossard. It's a weird one with Trossard. Whenever he starts games,
It's just not as impressive.
he's not as impressive. But when you get him off the bench, looks naughty, and then you're like, oh yeah, you start next game, and then he like drops off. So we've got like
Yeah.
a little bit of a problem at the left-hand
The
side.
problem is when I look at left hand side, I can, if Martinelli can get going, he is so good.
Well, it's
But
like Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz, when
don't
he's
know-
bad, looks really bad. And
I
the
don't
same
know
with
if
Martinelli.
that injury that's kept him up for a long time has caused him to lose like a yard of pace.
Yeah, I think maybe.
And maybe he just needs to readjust his play style or something, or maybe his timeout is just he's still rusty. I don't know. It's really difficult to tell because he doesn't seem as. Maybe it's just confidence.
I think it's all of that. It's confidence. It's kind of not really finding a settled left-hand
Do you think it's
side.
that, like just a little bit of something you just can't put your finger on?
Yeah, the je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, but Timber started this game, didn't he?
I like Timber a lot. Calafiori came on. He looked good. But yeah, I think that left-hand side is just a problem because he doesn't know if Declan Rice is going to be the higher 8 or if it's going to be Marino when he comes in, who's going to be the left back because that changes. It's all a bit of a mess. But we played really well. And then shit got real.
Shit did get real.
So Declan Rice picked up a yellow card earlier in the game, late tackle, blah blah. Standard yellow.
Can we just say that first tackle though?
Little bit naughty.
I would say that he's running the risk there.
Yeah.
If a second later,
Be what it be. A little bit naughty, but yellow
but
card.
why is he so rash? Because I don't think that's like him.
I don't know. A little bit naughty. Anyway, game moves on.
There's a tussle in the corner. Veltman, Deck is getting pressed.
You've
by
seen
Rice.
it. It's all over Twitter.
Declan Rice sort of like falls over with him, and that's it. They're having a little bit of tussle. That's it. The ball is moving. Decky Rice taps it out of the way. Veltman swings through. Decky gets sent off.
Da, 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 and that's where the whole game changes. Arsenal fans up in arms. Conspiracy theories at large. Referees, as Wenger said, when I go to heaven, I'll ask where the referees are. And if they're in heaven, I'll go to hell. Or something along those lines.
Just talk.
Mate, so,
Because I
Before the
think you're
season
going to be very
start-
pissed off.
before the season started, all players were said, if they delay a restart, they will get a yellow card for it. So, Declan Rice said he knew that in the post-game, and he accepts a red card. I think he's just being PC. That's fine. My issue is, firstly, consistency. João Pedro earlier in the game booted the ball and didn't get a yellow card for booting the ball away. But then all the Brighton fans and all the people that don't have a problem with this are saying, even the manager, what's his name? Fabian Hertzler, or whatever the fuck he's called. I was going to call him Adolf Hitler. Because that's how I feel about this little fucker. He said, one is a static moment in the game, and one is a dynamic moment in the game.
Agreed.
Shut your bitch ass up. That doesn't make a difference. If anything, the dynamic moment that you're talking about is Veltman having the ball rolling. So you can't even take a free kick because the ball's moving.
Let's all calm down here.
I've lost my head now.
I think it's incredibly harsh.
It's
I think it's incredibly harsh,
Yeah.
and I understand why Arsenal fans are angry about it, and I would be too. The only difference between that and the João Pedro one for me is that there's not an instant restart there. There's
the João Pedro one?
Yeah, there's not an instant restart. The ball is he's kicked it and it's going off the other end of the pitch. Play can continue with the ball boy throwing that to whoever's on the wing there.
Right.
He can't just put the ball down and play it straight away because the ball's gone off the pitch. So in that sense, it is static. The new ball has to come in.
Yeah. But as a result of him kicking the ball away.
The play wouldn't have continued with that ball, I don't think.
Why not?
Because he's going. If he just left it, it's going to go anyway. You need someone's got
No,
to play it
instead
back.
of him booting it, he could have just took a touch with the ball and stopped the game.
the ball is off the pitch at that point, though.
Yeah.
So if there was a substitution or whatever, play would have stopped regardless.
Yeah.
The Veltman one, I think the ball. If he had stopped the ball and tried to play it, and Rice had kicked it, that's certainly a yellow card.
Yeah.
He's off the pitch.
Yeah.
He's been very naughty as well. Because he's just absolutely seen what's happened.
He knows what he's doing.
And he's launched his leg. He wouldn't have followed through that hard if the ball was still.
He's done like a 2-footed tackle on Declan Rice and touched the ball, luckily.
So it was... I don't really understand why that's not been looked into. But the only thing is that I can say Declan Rice can have no complaints because he knows the rules.
Yeah.
If he hadn't kicked the ball, he wouldn't have got sent off.
And then I saw on Twitter someone say, so Veltman's the one that kind of got the ball rolling, and Declan Rice touched it away. So technically, that's just Declan Rice making a tackle. Because the ball's rolling.
Yeah, but hasn't he got it? Didn't he use his hands to get it rolling?
I don't know. What did he? No, I think he used his feet. No,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But regardless, Declan Rice has the decision there to either touch the ball or not touch the ball.
Yeah. Done for him to touch the ball. Well, I do agree on that.
But it's harsh. I think it's incredibly harsh. And I think I saw on Sky Sports the referee in Donny, I can't remember what his name
Dermot Gallagher.
Yeah, he was saying...
Dermot Big Nonce Gallagher.
He said
I'll cut that
refereeing and applying context
don't go
doesn't
hand
work.
in hand. He said don't go hand in hand. Why don't they go hand in hand?
But then we're getting to a point where we're refereeing so strictly by the rules that it's now impacting games.
Why don't refereeing and common sense go hand in hand?
And all I'm going to say is that this is all getting blown way out of proportion because bad decisions happen against teams all the time. All the time.
But, like, so he misses the North London derby now, which is huge.
Yeah.
And
if it wasn't a yellow card though, they would have rescinded it.
Would they though? They can't for a yellow.
I think it's 2 reds.
Nah, if it's
only straight red. I don't know.
It's bad. Basically, yeah, Brighton went and scored. João Pedro scored, and then we actually looked okay with 10 men. Calafiori came on. We still created chances. Maybe could have got a winner. But yeah.
I think Brighton, if you look at sort of the overlay of the game, they weren't bad at all. I think they deserved their goal.
Head's gone, mate. When you got John Terry and Jamie O'Hara back in Arsenal, something's gone wrong.
For me, it's a bad decision. I think it's incredibly harsh. I can understand why they made the decision, but I don't think it's the correct decision. And I think if you put yourself in a situation where you're giving the referee the opportunity to make that, cool, you're already in the wrong.
Yeah.
But it's all contextual. It's not great.
It's not ideal.
Is that our howler of the week?
So we've got many howlers of the week. Luke, you can decide. So it's either Declan Rice's red card. It's either Victor Osimhen's decision to not come to Chelsea, not go to Saudi, and now possibly end up at Galatasaray on loan.
The howler of the week has to be Everton dropping 3 points in about 3 minutes.
It is Everton.
Absolute stinker.
Or is it Wilfred Ndidi sticking his finger up John McGinn's bum?
It's Wilfred Ndidi sticking his finger up John McGinn's bum. How do you get a finger on the football pitch?
Mate, he saw that mascara from Wolves do it and was like, I want to get me a bit of that.
Get me a bit
Cut me up a slice of that, mate.
John McGinn loving it as well.
Oh, he's mad.
Yeah, and you see at the end of that game, John Duran obviously scored, and then all the Villa players are over there clapping, and John Duran's just standing there, and then John McGinn turns around to look at him, and before he looks at him, John Duran's like starts clapping. It's incredible.
But yeah, shout out
getting
Wilfred
fingered by
Ndidi,
Wilfred Ndidi is nuts.
What is going on here? And from Howler to best of the rest.
Best of the rest. I struggled with this one. I was going to go with Andreas Weiman's goal in the Lancashire derby.
Luke loves a bit of championship.
But I said we must move on from the championship. It can't keep focused on the championship. There are other leagues. And we're going up north. All the way up north so far, it's called Scotland.
Yeah.
To St Johnstone versus Motherwell, where Motherwell scored in like the 93rd minute to win 2-1. And this one particular commentator just happened to be sat behind some very angry St Johnstone fans.
Brilliant! Brilliant! St Johnstone fans not happy in front of me. There we go. St Johnstone fans absolutely delighted. I hope you picked that up.
What an outrageous video. They will not be getting that microphone back, I'll tell you that.
I love that. Commentator has no chill, and that's what it's all about. That's what football's all about,
That's
mate.
what football's all about.
Giving it large. And
I
then
love angry fans.
dealing with the repercussions.
Angry fans. Angry Arsenal fans in particular.
Right, moving on to the BoreDraw 5s. This is our favourite segment. We've had 3 contestants so far. We've had Jacob, currently on 6 points. Charles, currently on 3 points. And last week, / this week, we had Lewis from Good Sport Reviews. He predicted 5 games for us. You know the score. 5 games, 3 points for a correct score, 1 point for a correct result, 0 points for a incorrect result.
Did Lewis know the score is the real question.
We'll go through it. So he predicted in the Brentford-Southampton game, he predicted 2-0. And, no, he predicted 3-1. No, what was it? It was a 3-1 result, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he predicted 2-0. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. He predicted 2-0, finished 3-1. That's a 1-pointer. He then went on to predict the Nottingham Forest versus Wolves game. He said it'd be a tight one, but Wolves will win 2-1. It was a tight one, but it finished 1-1. So that's an incorrect result. Leicester versus Villa. He said 3-1 Villa. It was 2-1 Villa. So that's another point on the board. Spurs versus Newcastle. He said 2-1 Spurs. It was 2-1 Newcastle. Incorrect. And then he said Man United versus Liverpool would finish 2-1 to Liverpool. And it was 3-0 to Liverpool. So that's another point. And that's a 3-pointer.
I mean, he was close. If he had got that Villa or that Liverpool one goal out, I mean...
We've said it on the podcast a couple of times now. If you want to catch Jacob on 6 points, you're going to need to drop a correct score.
Mate, if you get 2 correct results, you could probably
be
you'll
flying.
be good stead for the rest of the season.
You'd be flying, mate.
Because to predict a correct result within 5 games is hard enough. If you get 2, I think you'll be right up there by the end of the season. However, we have another 35 game weeks to go on the BoreDraw 5s, although there isn't one this week, as it is the international break. And we would never make anyone in their right mind predict international results. Because fuck the international break. But we will be back next Monday with a BoreDraw 5s. So stick around and make
Stick around for that.
Yeah. The international break is here now.
It is indeed. We've still got content coming though. All sorts of content. We've got a transfer window roundup review situation.
We're going to be taking a look at why England fans should be excited about Lee Carsley. Because I think he could be a very tasty little appointment.
So yeah, get excited for all of that, and enjoy all the good stuff that we've got coming out. Follow us on all our social medias.
Says, all the good stuff. If you want to be around for it, make sure you are subscribed. Let us know down below what you'd like to see. How did your teams get on? Are you enjoying the new segments? Who do you want to see on the BoreDraw 5s? Leave a like. And yeah, follow us on all our socials. All the links are down in the description. Big thanks to Lewis for sending in his submissions last week. Wasn't to be, but we'll see where he ends up at the end of the season. If you want to check out Lewis, his stuff is going to be down in the description as well. It's been BoreDraw, episode 106. And it's live.